This is Antoinette James, one voice belonging to We the People. The following is an expansion of my blog, I Wonder, Woman, published May 14, 2020. Link in the show notes. You can also download a further amplified transcript of this podcast for free from my website, antoinettejames.com/theworldwelivein, under podcast papers. In many Western countries, socialist-owned media and globalist governments use propaganda as a two-pronged falsification fork, herding the public into an echo chamber of pair dependency of thought. We are at a time in history where the divide of fiction and non-fiction has become blurred. In this podcast, I'm going to examine how Wonder Woman, the New Zealand Prime Minister, and an artist converge in propaganda. Confused? Let's unpack it. What is the importance of art? Art is a powerful tool to herd thought. Art historically has been a controlled discipline, controlled by the political ruling powers of the day, deeming what is acceptable. The papacy had the most influence, teaching false Christian doctrine through paintings to population kept illiterate. The people were, in effect, gagged by the elite, making them academically impotent through misinformation and disinformation. The common people during the 12th to 18th centuries were kept as serfs who needed brighter minds to teach them and keep them from rising to form a middle-class community of thinkers. Spiritual control was paramount as religion dictates values and morality. So to control the social narrative, the Bible during those centuries was written in Latin. Perchance a serf had intellect enough to demand autonomy. There were those that tried to translate the Bible into the common language, and they were put to death. The Pope, who decreed by papal bull that he owned the world and all the souls in it, as they still do today, claimed it heresy to print or speak the Holy Scriptures in the common language. Latin and Latin alone was used, a language not taught to the common folk. The papacy imparted restrictive knowledge, fake news, by way of frescoes and oil paintings in cathedrals. When Martin Luther's Reformation opened up knowledge, allowing access to the written Bible text in the common language, a middle class developed, taking initiative in art, developing the Reformation school of art. The papacy fought back with a fierce counter-Reformation art in hope to instill fear upon the people, attempting to herd them back to the papal echo chamber. Thankfully, the thirst for the truth was stronger, and papal Rome was pushed back, ending the Dark Ages. Today, the control and use of art is much the same. Several generations of students have spent 10 years plus in Prussian-style classroom education, being taught Rockefeller-edited history in Western countries today. It is the same Rockefellers who bought and donated the land in New York to the United Nations, where their building stands today. The Rockefellers personally funded the United Nations into existence, while Stalin tweaked the Communist Manifesto that became the United Nations Charter. The 21st century sees Bill Gates as the major funder, investing billions into the universal dumbed-down United Nations Common Core curriculum now taught in every school in the world. From school, students then go into tertiary education to be taught by left-wing professors in the arts and humanities, in effect a Marxist finishing school of globalist socialist think. We the people around the world since 2016 have become sick and tired of being treated as ignorant masses to be controlled by a false narrative, so started pushing back. Culture, traditional values and religion started to burgeon once more, ending what could be termed a new mini-dark age. A retaliation was launched. The Vatican-led United Nations and the elite who pull the strings through its treaties and conventions, who partner with corrupt and bought governments through NGOs, mounted a counterattack with the 2020 coronavirus scamdemic. Yes, a virulent flu, but no worse than years gone by. The globalists have created fear, cowering the majority of people, beating them into submission, lying to them through mainstream media, scripted by the skillful Central Intelligence Agency, highly paid psychologists. The CIA for decades has been known anecdotally as the Catholic Intelligence Agency, an inquisition of sorts. Due to its being created and run by the Nazis, the Vatican helped smuggle out of Germany and resettle in America as part of Operation Paperclip at the end of World War II. The CIA is still today heavily manned with Catholics connected to the Vatican. Their logo, overtly Roman Catholic. One needs only to remember what happened to President John F. Kennedy when he announced he was going to break up the CIA into pieces to crush its power. The CIA centrally controlled fake news spilled from mainstream media was given virus managing directives by Bill Gates' Event 201 in October 2019. These tabletop pandemic exercises called for relentless fear-mongering, calling it flood zoning. It worked just like the fair flood zoning of the papacy centuries before. The false fear of death by COVID-19 has been as good as the threat of being burnt at the stake. This preamble sets context for a piece of art hurled into the public arena in the quasi-Nazi state of New Zealand. It is important to realise that art still plays an important part in controlling a narrative. Today, the style of art mainly used is dumbed-down cartoons presented to adults as illiterate serfs of centuries past, treating we the people as if we were children. The concerning part of this is most people accept that label. They're so dumbed down they can no longer read classical art and are happy with cartoons. It is a cartoon I'm wanting to talk about today. A Wellington-based artist, Jan Hare, gained 3,000 likes on social media in April 2020 for an image he posted, a cartoon fan art meets Marxist-style illustration of the New Zealand Socialist Globalist Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. The fame of this art was launched to new heights by the elite-owned mainstream media, their propaganda brainwashing machine. It hijacked not the art, but the likes, in hope that those who can be swayed will be. They promoted the suggestion that the likes were in support of the Prime Minister, rather than the artist and her work. The media used Jan's work as a timely promotion stunt to boost Jacinda Ardern's illegal yet mandatory draconian lockdown of the nation, a supposed cure strategy to a man-augmented virus. The same virus that American Dr. Anthony Fauci announced in 2017 was on the way. Trump's administration would have a surprise outbreak, he said, and Fauci should know. He funded the research into the virus in China to the tune of millions of US dollars. Jan's Marxist propaganda-style illustration is of Ardern as a superhero wearing a korowai cape-type cloak, effectively dumbing down its prestige. Andreas Ilmer BBC News 2018 article said, quote, "Korowai are a very special form of cloak," explains Vinnie Olsen-Reeder, a lecturer in Māori studies at Victoria University. There are lots of different kinds of cloaks, but the korowai is one with the highest prestige. Traditionally, it would be awarded only to people from the upper echelons of Māori society, or as a gift to people from outside the community if they were thought to be of equally high standing. End of quote. The question is, can a pretender to the throne have any vestige of prestige? The BBC article goes on to say, quote, "Having won a surprise victory last year, Ms. Ardern is the world's youngest female Prime Minister." End of quote. After Ardern's surprise win, an Australian newspaper led with the headline, "Coup. The people of New Zealand may never find out the particulars, the bribes, extortion, or whatever happened behind closed doors. But one thing is for sure, something very odd happened that election." The BBC article goes on, quote, "The fact that she is pregnant adds to the importance of the korowai, as it serves a kind of protection for both mother and child," Miss Campbell says. End of quote. I wonder if it is an insult to the cloak that Jan's Wonder Woman signed into law the murder of, among others, European, Pacifica and Māori unborn babies up to birth, all while the nation was gagged under COVID house arrest. To understand Ardern a little more, her father was the Niue High Commissioner. One does not get positions like that without the elect selecting them. So it was of no surprise to find out Jacinda was financially helped by Freemasonry scholarship and assisted into her current position by the New Zealand Old School Tie Network, Aka New Zealand political swamp. Another note of interest, Ardern has publicly said that she's come out of the Church of the Latter-day Saints, known as Mormons. But since the church is a carbon copy of Freemasonry, it makes the oath she has sworn as New Zealand Prime Minister of lower precedence than the oaths to either of the above organisations, bringing more oddities into play. Being a Mormon was a problem for the US Mitt Romney's run for the White House. He didn't stand a chance with the discerning American voters. Ardern was mentored by the globalist Bill Goff, globalist Helen Clark, and by Fabian globalist warmonger UK Prime Minister Tony Blair, who converted to Roman Catholicism in what looked like a bid to be the first president of the European Union, a lifelong position. Under Blair, Jacinda Ardern participated in the whitewashing of Freemasonry police pedophilia activities in the UK. Ardern does her United Nations masters bidding, to the point that if they say black is white, to her it will be white. And so she has filled her New Zealand cabinet with one world government socialists. She is a wonder, but no Wonder Woman. As part of the elite virus, or coronavirus, Wuhan virus, or Chinese Communist Party virus, whatever you choose, illustrations, Jan also drew the New Zealand Director General of Health, Dr. Ashley Bloomfield. She drew him wearing a crown. Jan coined in this illustration Ann Coulter's book title, In Trump We Trust, changing it to In Bloomfield We Trust. Corona means crown, taken from Greek mythology. The elite are Luciferian by religion, and Luciferian mythology is very important to them. Atheism is for the common people. The elite have written in their works for centuries the need to eradicate Christianity. This is why Jacinda Ardern, under COVID Level 2, has opened bars, the strip clubs, and the gambling houses, but has kept the Christian churches in lockdown. Drinking, gambling, and pornography are the three core destroyers of people's lives and family units. Christianity brings peace and prosperity. The wealthy and innovative countries of the world are the Protestant Christian countries, known as the West. The Protestant King James Version of the Bible clearly lays out our inalienable rights under God. The elite want them swapped out for state-given privileges only. The COVID levels we are asked to obey is a test of how far we will submit to their dictates. I doubt that Jan has any insight into the Luciferian symbolism she has used in this illustration, but coupling this ignorance to her naive trust in an expert in this new United Nations choreographed scientific technocratic dictatorship age we are being pushed towards is testimony to her and her generation's lack of education and Christian literacy. Dr. Bloomfield's area of professional competence is non-communicable disease prevention and control. COVID-19 is a communicable disease, so why did the New Zealand globalist government promote him as the public face health expert during the country's COVID-19 scamdemic? The answer? Bloomfield is a convenient United Nations puppet. He spent 2011 with the UN at the World Health Organization in Geneva, working on non-communicable diseases at global level. Again, not a job one just walks into. Since the biggest funder of the World Health Organization is the evil Bill Gates, who took over from the US in 2020 as the largest contributor of funds after the World Health Organization was caught in multiple lies and is being strong-armed by the Chinese Communist Party, as the United Nations itself is. Bill Gates and the Chinese Communist Party put Tedros in as director of WHO. Like Gates, he has no medical background. He is a former terrorist and a murderer of millions of his own Ethiopian people while health minister there. This man Bloomfield, in whom Jan's illustration encourages the public to trust, is unfortunately a useful idiot, as the elites say. Jan did nail it with the militant tone of her ardent fiction. We are at war. Sometimes it's a cold war, sometimes hot, however, all the time relentless. The enemy, we the people. The axis of evil, the elites and their footmen on the ground, the useful idiots, corrupt governments, and wouldn't you know it, they're all connected to head office, the United Nations, using the slogan, think globally, act locally. Here we are in 2020 as the elite work hard to roll out a vaccine that they are calling, quoting Bill Gates, the final solution. Now, where have we heard that before? Bill Gates' father was the founder of the abortion clinics called Planned Parenthood in the USA. He, like his father, wants to depopulate the earth. Hitler put live bodies into toxic substance-filled chambers. Gates put syringe-filled toxic substances into live bodies. Same extermination outcomes, but this time hidden in plain sight. There are many toxins in vaccines, among them mercury, aluminium, and aborted baby parts. No one can take the vaccine industry to court for injury of death, as by law they cannot be held responsible for the millions of brain-injured and dead children worldwide. The United Nations stands behind Gates' work with their own piece of the final solution, being Agenda 21. Puppet Ardern stole 160 million New Zealand dollars from the New Zealand taxpayers in May 2020 to help fund Gates's final solution. Jan's treatment of Wonder Woman is called socialist realism. Wikipedia tells us that socialist realism is a style of idealized realistic art developed in the Soviet Union. It is the Soviet Union and other socialist countries' official style. Its aim is to glorify communist values. At the SU Congress of 1934, it was determined that socialist realism in art must have 4 points. Proletarian, art relevant to workers and understandable to them. Superhero will work. Typical, scenes of everyday life of the people. Cutesy Kiwi and flag will do the trick. Realistic, in the representational sense. Viva la feminism. Partisan, supportive of the aims of the state and party. Only government and its superhero can save. Nailed. Jan's work gets ticks in all the boxes. Wikipedia says, quote, "The purpose of socialist realism was to limit popular culture to a specific, highly regulated faction of emotional expression that promoted Soviet ideals. The party was of the utmost importance and was always to be favourably featured. The key concept that developed assured loyalty to the party." End of quote. Only in free societies and ideologies does one find diversity, for good and bad. A thinking mind, creativity, and individualism is banished in socialist regimes. Mao said a thinking person was more dangerous than a gun-toting person, as he or she is unpredictable and cannot submit to the state. Can I blame Jan's understanding of the situation? Yes, I can. She chooses to present her physical self stereotypically as a third-wave feminist, and at best gives a public persona of holding a philosophy that obliges its owner to interpret existence from an ignorant, or at the very least from a naive fictional worldview, stuck unmovable within a left-thinking ideology. It is reported that Jan said while drawing Ardern, she saw her as protecting those who can't protect themselves and being a voice for all of us during these times. An observation based on what? The question is, who in New Zealand cannot protect themselves? No one, except the elderly, those with special needs, and the unborn child, all who Ardern has made lawful to legally murder. But of course, Jan is suggesting protection from the coronavirus. Jan needs to do her homework. Adding to Ardern's murder of babies by abortion, special needs individuals and elderly by euthanasia, she has not protected thousands of New Zealanders who are going bankrupt due to the shutdown of the economy. She has not protected families from poverty, mortgagee sales, unemployment, family strains, and lost dreams. She has not protected the many who have committed suicide due to isolation and fear, nor the many from substance abuse addiction and increasing alcoholism. She has not protected the increasing numbers of children from sexual abuse, or the millions of children in the third world countries who will die from starvation before the end of 2020 due to the deliberate collapsing of the West's economy under lockdown. I go further. Fear is the big reducer of an individual's immunity. Ardern, backed by the media, mandated by Event 201, has created and fueled fear in the New Zealand population. She has not revealed that this virus is now recognised as no worse than the bad flu season. She has left people fearing the future. She has protected nobody. What we are witnessing here is the usual Marxist Hegelian dialectic, used like a magic wand, not by a Wonder Woman, but by a wicked witch of the West. Ardern does not and has never spoken for the majority of the country, as we the people did not vote her in. A coup placed her in power. And no, I can't blame Jan, as she is a victim of the dumbed-down United Nations globalist socialist Common Core curriculum that has been rolled out in all schools around the West, being introduced to New Zealand by Labour Party Helen Clark while she was Prime Minister. 20+ years of emphasis on being a good, compliant, left-leaning global citizen have left people coming out of the system like robots. The United Nations aims are hidden in plain sight. They are all written for those who want to read them. They have been signed by your socialist globalist government, part of the cabal to take we the people down. Jan stated, "I'd like people to feel inspired, creatively or otherwise, by my work. For me, I'll take the otherwise. It is a very scary ideology that thinks this type of Marxist propaganda promoting a globalist shill could inspire any literate thinking art or political critic today. A leaving thought for us all and Jan. As long as the United States Constitution holds, we will all hold. Thankfully, the Founding Fathers, who knew the socialist tyranny of Europe and the Middle East, decided on a republic form of government. They wrote the First and Second Amendment in the US Constitution for the protection of we the people, specifically against tyrannical governments. So Jan, with respect, I grab the slogan back and put it where it belongs. In Trump we trust, because it is in God we trust, and it is God who placed this man, for all his frailties, in office for such a time as this." Jan painted a wonder tyrant, with all the aggression and militancy the left love. As New Zealand moves to level 2, the government has passed legislation to gag the people's voices permanently. Ardern also gagged her ministers and has given the police powers to take dissenters off the street without any reason. Many will say this legislation is only to be enacted for 2 years. The problem is Gates and his World Health Organization cabal have promised another pandemic. This one was thought to be virulent strain to kill many. We had an indication of that when the elites ran for their bunkers at the beginning of the outbreak. God clearly thought otherwise. Socialist government will double down when the next outbreak comes. This law sits quietly for that day. Then this tyrannical legislation will find its teeth. For background information of the planned coronavirus release, click on the link. Know this is not the end of the virtual signalling wonder tyrant and her masters, the elites takeover bid. It is time to wake up, for this is only the end of the beginning. I invite you to check the links below. Links to my Facebook page. It is a platform to keep interested parties informed about the elites' tactics that mainstream media hides from the public. My art blog, where I write on globalist art. My 2019 publication, We Are Revolting, an eye-opening expose on geopolitics and who really rules the affairs of the world. It is written in plain language, making it an easy yet revealing read. Be sure to visit my website, AntoinetteJames.com, to download podcast papers, amplified podcast transcripts, and check out my other publications. If you like this content, you can support me by hitting the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Please comment below. Until next time, take care.